The great Imperial Council Hall was silent when the doors opened. Heavy armored guards stepped aside as Warlord Vorik Thal entered. His tall, powerful body carried the scars of many wars. His eyes were sharp, burning with a warning no one wanted to hear. Every ruler of the empire watched him with cold curiosity. Some whispered. Some laughed quietly. To them, Vorik was a soldier, nothing more. But today, he stood before them with a message that could save or destroy the galaxy. He stopped in the center of the hall and spoke in a deep voice that echoed across the chamber. "Do not force humanity into the war," Vorik said. "If you do, we all will suffer." The council laughed louder this time. One senator whispered to another, "Humans? Those weak creatures? How can they harm the Empire?" Vorik heard the whispers, but he continued. "You do not know them," he said. "You think they are small. You think they are emotional. You think they break easily." He paused, looking at each ruler with a steady gaze. "You are wrong." The Empress leaned forward on her shining throne. Her voice was sharp. "Explain yourself, Vorik. Why do you protect humans? Are you afraid of them?" Vorik closed his eyes for a moment. A memory hit him, the memory that never left him. He remembered the burning sky of Delta 9, a world taken by an unknown enemy years ago. He remembered the shock of seeing human soldiers fighting with a kind of madness the Empire had never seen before. They did not fight for glory. They did not fight for orders. They fought because they refused to die. Their courage had stunned him. Their unpredictability had terrified him. He opened his eyes again. "I faced them once," Vorik said. "On a dying world. They fought with fire in their hearts. They refused to retreat even when death was certain. They did not fear pain. They did not fear the enemy. They did not fear us." The hall grew quiet. Even the Empress did not interrupt. Vorik took a slow breath. "You cannot break humans," he said. "You can only push them into becoming something stronger. Something you cannot control." A senator stood up angrily. "Are you telling us the Empire fears these creatures?" Vorik replied calmly, "The Empire should respect them, or the Empire should leave them alone." The council erupted into shouts. "Humans are nothing. They are disorganized. They have no place in our war." But Vorik did not move. He let them shout. Their blindness only confirmed his fear. The Empress finally raised her hand. Silence returned. "You say you faced them," she said. "Then tell us. What did you see?" Vorik's voice lowered. "I saw men and women who fought after losing everything. I saw soldiers with broken limbs still crawling toward the enemy. I saw commanders who stood against impossible odds and still ordered one last charge. They do not understand surrender. They do not understand fear in the way we know it." The Empress leaned back on her throne. "So you want us to avoid them? To run from them?" Vorik's eyes hardened. "No. I want peace. If you force them into this war, they will not fight like an enemy. They will fight like a storm. And storms destroy everything in their path." But the Empress had already made her choice. She rose from her throne, her long cloak falling behind her like a dark wave. "The Empire does not fear storms," she said. "We control the galaxy. We control thousands of worlds. And we will control Earth too." Vorik felt a coldness in his chest. "You are blind," he said quietly. "You are stepping into fire." Another official shouted, "Enough! Humanity must join the war. They will obey the Empire." The Empress signaled the council. "Send the order," she said. "Earth will receive our command by sunrise. If they resist, we will show them the power of the Empire." Every ruler nodded. Every commander approved. Vorik felt the weight of their mistakes settle on the room like a dark cloud. He made one last attempt. "You do not understand what will happen," he warned. "You see humans as weak because they look like you. But they are not like us. They are something different. Something dangerous. And if you push them too far, you will regret it." The Empress smiled coldly. "The Empire does not regret." The guard stepped forward, signaling the end of the meeting. Vorik looked at each ruler, their confident faces, their pride, their arrogance, and knew there was nothing more he could say. He turned toward the exit. His heavy footsteps echoed across the hall. Just before he left, he whispered one final warning. "You have doomed us all." The doors closed behind him. Inside the council hall, the rulers celebrated their decision. But outside, in the long shadowed corridor, Vorik felt something he had not felt in years. Fear. Because he knew what the Empire had just unleashed. And he knew humanity would not enter the war quietly. Humanity would strike back. And when they did, the galaxy would change forever. The news reached Earth in the middle of a quiet night. Inside the United World Command Center, alarms flashed red, lighting the room like a storm. Officers rushed to their screens. Messages poured in from satellites positioned all around the solar system. Admiral Reyes, a strict and calm leader, stepped into the command hall. "What happened?" she asked. A young officer turned to her, sweat on his forehead. "Ma'am, we intercepted an Imperial message. They have declared Earth part of their war." The room fell silent. For a moment, no one breathed. Another officer read the message aloud, his voice shaking. "Earth must join the Empire's fight. Resistance will be punished." Admiral Reyes stared at the words. She knew what this meant. The Empire was not asking. The Empire was claiming. And they were sending someone to enforce it. She walked to the center of the hall. "Send a warning to every station," she said. "Prepare Earth's defenses. We don't know what's coming." But they all knew. War. Far away from Earth, inside deep space, something massive moved through the darkness. A fleet of huge Imperial warships approached the solar system. They didn't come quietly. Their engines burned like stars, shaking space with power. The Empire called it a peace mission. But their ships carried weapons ready for battle. On the lead ship, Commander Salira watched Earth grow bigger on her screen. She smiled coldly. "Humans will obey," she said. "And if they do not, they will learn fear." Behind her, her officers nodded. The Empire had crushed dozens of worlds before. Earth would be no different. They did not know what Vorik knew. They did not understand humanity. Not yet. Back on Earth, citizens woke up to strange lights moving across the sky. People stepped out of their homes and stared. Blue, red, and white beams flashed in the night. The Imperial fleet had reached the edge of the solar system. News channels switched to emergency broadcasts. Reporters shouted over each other. "Unidentified ships detected. Massive alien fleet entering orbit. Earth governments in emergency meeting." Fear rippled across cities and towns. Parents pulled children inside. Cars stopped in the streets. Everyone watched the sky. In the command center, Admiral Reyes ordered Earth's defense stations to take position. The officers watched as the Imperial ships unfolded into formation like sharp metal wings. A message arrived from the Empire. It was cold and threatening. "Earth will submit to the Empire. Lower your shields and send representatives to kneel before the fleet." A deep silence spread across the room. One officer whispered, "They want us to surrender." Admiral Reyes clenched her fists. So this is their peace. But humanity did not stay silent. In every military base, soldiers assembled. Pilots ran toward their fighters. Defense cannons powered up across the planet. The United World Council gathered in a private chamber. The President of Earth listened as generals argued. "We must negotiate," one said. "They will destroy us," said another. "Humans don't kneel to invaders," shouted a third. The room exploded in disagreement. Finally, the President raised his hand. "We will not start a war," he said. "But we will not bow." At that moment, a warning siren blasted across the command center. Imperial fleet moving into attack position. Screens showed the Empire ships spreading out like metal birds hunting prey. The Empire's voice returned. "You have 1 hour to obey. After that, Earth will face consequences." Admiral Reyes looked at the screen, her jaw tight. "They're preparing to strike." A scientist near her whispered, "Do they think fear will break us?" Reyes didn't answer. Humans were afraid, yes. But fear had never made them surrender in the past. In the Imperial flagship, Commander Salira watched Earth's military activity. "So, they choose resistance," she said. Very well. She ordered the first intimidation strike. A single blast shot past the moon, close enough to shake the lunar bases but not destroy them. It was a warning. A loud one. Earth felt the tremor even from a distance. Reyes looked at her officers. They're trying to scare us. The officer replied softly, It's working. But then something unexpected happened. A simple human transport ship, an old model, approached the Imperial fleet. No weapons. No defenses. Just a signal. The Imperial crew laughed. A surrender ship? They asked. But it was not surrender. It was a message. Inside the small ship, Captain Jonah Hale recorded his words with a steady voice. This is Earth. We will not kneel. We want peace. But if you attack us, we will defend ourselves. He sent the message straight to the Imperial flagship. Commander Salira watched it and smiled. Then your world will burn. She ordered her weapons to power up. On Earth, alarms screamed again. They're charging main cannons. Shields to full. All fighters launching. Across the world, pilots raced into the sky. Energy shields brightened with electric light. Cities prepared for the worst. Humanity stood together, not as nations, but as one species. Admiral Reyes whispered, Hold the line. Her voice carried across every base, every ship, every soldier. And then, the Imperial flagship sent one final message. Earth has chosen its fate. The fleet moved. The first strike was seconds away. And humanity, for the first time in history, united under one thought. If the Empire wanted war, they would get war. The moment the Imperial fleet powered up its weapons, the solar system felt like it was holding its breath. Inside Earth's command center, every officer stared at the main screen. Red warnings flashed again and again. Admiral Reyes watched the Imperial flagship move to the front of the formation. They're targeting our outer defense grid, she said quietly. Human fighters launched from Earth and its many orbital stations. Dozens of small ships shot upward, like sparks rising into the night sky. They were nothing compared to the giant Imperial warships, but they were all humanity had. In space, Captain Jonah Hale sat inside his fighter, gripping the controls tightly. He had faced dangerous missions before, but nothing like this. He looked at Earth shrinking behind him. Blue, fragile, but full of life. Humans don't break, he whispered to himself. The communication line activated. Human fleet, stand by. Imperial weapons charging. Inside the Imperial flagship, Commander Salira stood tall. Her officers looked excited, ready to crush humanity with a single blast. Prepare primary cannon, Salira said. Target Earth's defense station on orbit. The cannon glowed bright orange, filling the bridge with deadly light. But then, something unexpected happened. A small human fighter squadron moved straight toward the Imperial fleet, even though they had no chance of winning. One Imperial officer laughed. They're coming directly at us. They're insane. Salira's eyes narrowed. No, they're desperate. Destroy them. In deep space, the first battle began. Imperial cannons fired thick beams of energy. Human fighters scattered, dodging with wild and unpredictable movement. One fighter exploded instantly. Another took a hit and spun out of control. But the remaining pilots kept flying, straight at the enemy. Captain Jonah Hale shouted into his radio. Stay together. Push forward. We take out their support ships. The Imperial officers were confused. Why are they attacking our flanks? They should be retreating. They're too small to damage us. But the humans didn't retreat. They flew faster, closer, with reckless bravery, and it shocked the Empire. Admiral Reyes watched the live feed, her heart pounding. Hold the line. Just hold, she whispered. Then the Imperial flagship fired. The massive beam tore through space, aimed at Earth's orbital defense station. The station's shields flickered in panic. And then the beam hit. The explosion lit the sky. People on Earth saw a bright flash, like a second sunrise. Families stopped. Children stared upward. The world went silent. The station was gone. But the humans did something no one expected. They didn't run. Captain Jonah Hale saw the explosion and shouted into his radio. "That's it! They took our station! Push hard! Give everything!" His broken squadron flew straight into the heart of the Imperial formation. Their small weapons fired rapidly, hitting weak points on the Empire's support ships. One Imperial ship lost power. Another spun away with smoke trailing from its engines. Selira froze. How are they doing this?" she whispered. Her officer looked shocked too. "They're not following any pattern. Their movements are wild, unpredictable." Vorik had warned them. This was humanity. Back on Earth, Admiral Reyes received tactical data. "Commander Selira's fleet is confused," an officer reported. "Human ships are disrupting their formation." Reyes leaned forward, then hit them harder. "Tell every fighter, keep pressure on their sides." The human pilots obeyed instantly. They were fearless. They were fast. And each time one of them died, the others fought even harder. The Empire had crushed many worlds with fear. But fear made humans stronger, not weaker. Inside the Imperial flagship, alarms rang across the bridge. "Support Ship 3 is down. Support Ship 5 has lost its shields. Human fighters are breaking through Sector B." Commander Selira slammed her fist onto the control panel. "Impossible! These are primitive ships." But the evidence was right in front of her. Her fleet was struggling against the smallest force she had ever fought. She finally understood what Vorik meant. These humans, they fight like they have nothing to lose. In space, the battle grew even more intense. Captain Jonah Hale's fighter took several hits. Sparks flew inside his cockpit. His fuel was dropping. His engines struggled to stay alive. But he kept going. He targeted an Imperial destroyer and shouted, "For Earth!" His missile struck the destroyer's hull, and the entire ship erupted in flames. The Empire had just lost its first major vessel in the war. The galaxy would remember that moment. On Earth, people gathered around screens, watching the live battle. They saw human fighters fall one by one. They saw the Imperial fleet burning brighter with each attack. And they saw the destroyer explode. People who had been trembling now stood tall. For the first time since the Empire arrived, hope was alive. Commander Selira glared at the screen showing the destroyed ship. "This will not continue," she said. "Prepare the second strike. This time, no warnings." Her officers hesitated. "Commander, if humans are this dangerous at the start, what will they be like if the war continues?" Selira stared at Earth with cold eyes. "Then we make sure the war ends quickly." The flagship adjusted its cannons. The second strike would be far worse than the first. The Empire was done playing. Humanity was just getting started. The second Imperial strike was only minutes away. Inside Earth's command center, warning lights flashed like angry fire. Officers shouted updates across the room. Admiral Reyes watched the Imperial flagship charging its cannons again. This time, the energy buildup was far stronger, enough to break Earth's main shields. "If they fire this," Reyes whispered, "we lose everything." Her hands tightened on the desk. She could feel fear spreading in the room, creeping into every officer's mind. "Ma'am," an officer said, "our fighters can't hold the line for much longer. Their numbers are falling fast." Reyes knew it was true. Screens showed human fighters being shot down one by one. Captain Jonah Hale's squadron was almost gone. Earth's resistance was heroic, but hopeless. For a moment, Reyes felt the weight of defeat pressing on her chest. But then a message flashed on her screen. A secret code, one she had not seen in 10 years. Project Horizon. Authorization requested. Reyes froze. That name, Horizon, was something only a handful of Earth's leaders knew. A forgotten project. A hidden system deep beneath the planet's surface. "Who activated Horizon?" she asked, her voice tense. The officer shook his head. I don't know. The signal is coming from old Facility Zero." Reyes felt her heartbeat quicken. Facility Zero was abandoned decades ago. No one was supposed to be there. She turned to her second-in-command. "Open the Horizon channel. Now." Beneath Earth's crust, buried under rock and steel, An ancient chamber awakened. Lights flickered on. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rows of machines, silent for years, came to life with a deep roar. Inside this forgotten place stood Dr. Elias Ward, the man who created Project Horizon. He looked older now, tired, worn by years of hiding. But his eyes were full of resolve. "It's time," he whispered, pulling down a heavy switch. A low hum filled the chamber. Blue energy lines crawled across the floor like veins waking after a long sleep. Massive power cores activated, sending vibrations through the ground. Earth trembled. Above, in cities, people felt a strange rumble under their feet. No one knew what was happening. Not humans, not the Empire. But something old, something powerful, was rising. In the command center, Admiral Reyes watched in shock as a giant symbol lit up on the center screen. Horizon Protocol. Online. "Impossible," Reyes said. "That project was shut down." Her second-in-command spoke quietly. "Maybe Earth decided it wasn't time yet. Maybe now it is." Reyes stared at the energy readings. They were off the charts, higher than any human technology should be able to produce. "What is Horizon?" a young officer asked. Reyes hesitated. "It's not a weapon," she said. "It's a defense system. One we built before we realized how dangerous the galaxy truly is." She looked out at the glowing screens. Horizon was meant to be our last shield. In space, the Imperial flagship detected the energy spike. Commander Salyra frowned. "What is that?" she demanded. Her officers looked confused. "Unknown energy source rising from Earth's surface. It's not nuclear, not plasma, not anything we recognize." Salyra looked at the glowing sphere forming around Earth. "Is that a shield?" But it was more than a shield. It was a barrier, thick, radiant, and pulsing with ancient power. The flagship scanners crackled. The crew struggled to understand. "This technology, Commander, it's not possible. Humans shouldn't have anything like this." Salyra felt a cold shiver crawl up her spine. "What else have they been hiding?" she whispered. Down in Facility Zero, Dr. Ward monitored the energy flow. He whispered to himself, "This is what we built Horizon for. Not to start a war, but to survive one." Images flashed on his screens. Earth cities, Earth's oceans, human families hiding in fear. "They deserve protection," he said softly. "They always did." He increased the power output. The barrier around Earth grew brighter, thicker, unbreakable. Captain Jonah Hale, still fighting in space, saw the barrier ignite below him. His eyes widened in disbelief. What is that?" he said through heavy breaths. His fighter shook as another blast hit him. He barely kept control. A voice came through his radio. "Admiral Reyes. All human ships, fall back behind the Horizon barrier." Jonah stared at the glowing shield surrounding Earth. "You're telling me Earth had this the whole time?" he asked. "We weren't ready," Reyes said. "But now we have no choice." The Imperial flagship fired its second full-power cannon blast. The beam shot across space like a spear of fire, brighter and larger than anything humans had ever seen. The beam hit the Horizon shield. The galaxy shook. The shield bent, crackled, but it did not break. The energy rippled across its surface, spreading like waves of blue lightning. On Earth, people watched in awe and fear as the sky lit up with cosmic light. The Imperial officers stared at their screens in disbelief. "Commander, the shield is holding." Salyra's eyes widened. No, that's impossible." But it was real. The Empire's strongest weapon had failed. Humanity had survived the strike. In the command center, Admiral Reyes exhaled for the first time in minutes. "Earth lives," she whispered. Officers cheered. Some cried. Some fell to their knees in relief. But Reyes wasn't smiling. She knew the truth. The Empire would not accept this. They would strike harder. They would dig deeper. Horizon bought time. Nothing more. She turned to her officers. "The Empire knows now," she said. "They know we are not weak." She looked out at the glowing barrier. "And this is only the beginning." The Horizon shield glowed like a giant blue sun around Earth. Inside the Imperial flagship, the silence was heavy and tense. Commander Salira stared at the screen with cold disbelief. Her strongest cannon had failed. The energy wave was still rippling across the shield. How did humans build this? An officer whispered. No one answered. Salira's hands shook, but she forced herself to stand straight. Send a message to the Empress, she ordered. She must know Earth has hidden defenses. The officer hesitated. Commander, if we report failure, the Empress will not forgive us. Salira glared at him. We have no choice. In the far heart of the Empire, thousands of light years away, the message reached the Imperial throne. Inside a palace made of black crystal, the Empress listened with narrow eyes. Humans, resist us, she said quietly. Her advisors bowed their heads. Your Majesty, the shield they activated, it is ancient. Something we have never seen before. The Empress walked slowly toward the large window overlooking her empire. Her long cloak dragged along the polished floor. For centuries, she said, worlds have obeyed the Empire without question. And now, these humans insult us with their defiance. She turned to her generals. Send more fleets. Crush their spirit. But one general stepped forward nervously. Your Majesty, other species are watching this war. If we struggle against humans, they may rebel. The Empress narrowed her eyes sharply. They would not dare. But deep inside, her first seed of fear had been planted. Rumors spread like wildfire across the Empire. The humans survived the flagship's main cannon. The humans have a secret barrier. The humans destroyed an Imperial destroyer on the first day. Alien colonies whispered in their halls. Merchant ships carried the rumors. Minor planets began to question the Empire's strength. If humans can resist, they said, maybe we can too. Rebellion sparks were forming. Silent but dangerous. On a distant mining world, workers gathered in hidden tunnels. The Empire is not unbeatable, one said. If humans can fight back, why not us? On another world, soldiers lowered their weapons and discussed the news. What if we are fighting the wrong enemy? What if the Empire lied to us? The Empire was not collapsing yet, but cracks were starting to form. Those cracks scared the Empress more than any human weapon. Meanwhile, on Earth, the command center was trying to understand the Horizon Shield. Admiral Reyes stood with Dr. Ward, the creator of the system. What exactly is this tech? She asked. Dr. Ward sighed. Horizon is based on a discovery we made decades ago. Something ancient. Something we didn't fully understand. Reyes frowned. Ancient? From where? Dr. Ward looked away. From Earth itself. Something buried deep in our planet's history. Reyes stared at him, stunned. Are you saying this technology wasn't made by us? Dr. Ward did not answer directly. Let's just say humanity has forgotten more than it remembers. In space, Captain Jonah Hale's fighter drifted near the edge of the Horizon Shield. His ship was damaged, smoke filling the cockpit. He watched the Empire ships regrouping. They're scared, he said. I can see it. His wingman, a pilot barely older than 20, replied weakly. Then maybe we can win? Jonah didn't answer. He looked at Earth, glowing behind the powerful shield. Humans had hope now, but hope alone would not win a war. Inside the Imperial flagship, Commander Salira received a private message. It was from someone she didn't expect. Vorik Thal, the alien warlord who warned the Empire. His face appeared on her screen, tall, scarred, and calm. Commander, he said, I warned the Empire not to force humans into this war. Salira glared. Spare me your lectures, Vorik. Vorik leaned forward. You do not understand what you are facing. Humans are unpredictable. They fight beyond logic. They rise after every defeat. Salira snapped. Are you trying to scare me? Vorik's voice remained steady. I fought them once. I watched them hold the line even when they should have died. You believe fear will break them, but fear makes them stronger. Salira felt a chill. Vorik continued. And now they have awakened something old. Something the Empire cannot match. Salira whispered. What is horizon? Vorik shook his head. Something humanity was never meant to use again. Then the transmission ended. Selira stood frozen. Her officers watched her nervously. "Commander," one said, "does this mean the Empire should retreat?" Selira's voice was cold. "No. It means the Empire must strike harder." But deep inside, her confidence was crumbling. In the Empire's capital, more troubling news arrived. A major trade world refused to send resources. A border colony declared independence. A military outpost went silent. The Empress slammed her staff against the floor, cracking the marble. "Humanity is causing unrest across my entire empire," she shouted. Her advisor bowed low. "Your Majesty, the galaxy is watching your response. If we fail to defeat Earth quickly, rebellion may spread." The Empress raised her head slowly. "Then prepare the Grand Armada." Her generals gasped. "That fleet is for extinction-level war." "Yes," she said, "and Earth has chosen war." On Earth, Admiral Reyes looked at the stars where the Empire's reinforcements would soon arrive. She whispered to her officers, "The storm is coming." And this time, even horizon might not be enough. The battlefield over Earth was burning with light, broken ships, and drifting metal. But even in the middle of this chaos, there was one thing that bothered Atron more than the Quantum Emperor or the Empire fleet. Something was missing. Atron watched the enemy formations carefully. Their ships attacked, but not with full force. Their fire was heavy, but not focused. They fought like they only wanted to stall time. And that was what worried him. Human ships, damaged but still holding formation, circled close to Atron's position. The commander of Earth's fleet, Admiral Kira Holt, appeared on screen. Smoke was rising behind her, alarms screaming in the background. "Atron," she said, "we are fighting hard, but something does not make sense. They are not using their heavy weapons." Atron nodded slowly. "I know. They are hiding their real move." Kira narrowed her eyes. "Then what are they waiting for?" Atron did not answer right away. His mind returned to what the Quantum Emperor had said earlier. "This is not a war against humans. This is a war against your future." He finally spoke. "They are not trying to win this battle. They are preparing something else. Something bigger." Before Kira could reply, a loud signal screamed across every ship. The star behind Earth, Sol, flashed unnaturally bright for a moment. Atron's eyes widened. "Oh no, they wouldn't." He opened a special sensor feed. Data rushed across the screen. The star's magnetic field was shifting, not naturally, but artificially. Someone was forcing it. Kira's voice shook. "What are they doing to our sun?" Atron took a slow breath. "They are turning your star into a weapon." The room fell silent on all channels. Far away, on the Empire's command ship, the Quantum Emperor stood calmly in front of a glowing device, a sphere with spinning rings of energy. The rings pulsed in sync with the star. "Begin the ignition sequence," he ordered. His officers hesitated. "But, Emperor, destabilizing a star will destroy the entire system. Humanity will be wiped out." The Emperor replied without emotion. "That is the point. They are too unstable to join the galactic future. They must be erased." His soldiers obeyed. The rings around the sphere rotated faster. The light grew brighter. Space itself seemed to bend around the device. The Emperor whispered, "The humans will not die in battle. They will die in the fire of their own sun." Back near Earth, Atron felt a deep fear rising in his chest. "The Empire has activated a star destabilizer," he said. "Your sun will explode in hours, maybe minutes." Kira swallowed hard. So this was their plan all along. The war was just a distraction. "Yes," Atron said. "They want to remove humans completely." The humans listening across the fleet fell silent. Some clenched their fists. Some whispered prayers. Some stared at their screens in disbelief. Kira leaned closer to the display. "Atron, can we stop it?" Atron hesitated. He knew the truth. He also knew what humanity would do with it. Finally, he said, "There is only one way. We must reach the Emperor's command ship and disable the device manually. Kira narrowed her eyes. And what are our chances? Atron looked at the burning battlefield. At best, 1 in 1,000. Kira smiled. Tired but brave. Well, humans like impossible odds. Atron felt something strange inside his chest. Something warm. Oh, he had never felt that from any species before. He pointed toward the Emperor's flagship. Then prepare your ships. We are going straight into the heart of the Empire fleet. Kira nodded. All forces, focus fire on the command ship. We move now. Human ships roared forward. Atron joined them, his blade glowing, his engine burning with power. Behind them, the sun pulsed again, brighter, hotter, unstable. Time was running out. If they failed now, humanity would vanish forever. The human fleet raced toward the Emperor's massive command ship. It was the biggest vessel in the Empire, a dark giant blocking the stars behind it. Atron flew ahead, cutting through enemy fire with impossible speed. Human pilots followed close behind, trusting him completely. But the Emperor had been waiting. A new wave of Empire ships moved in, forming a wall of steel and energy beams. They fired non-stop. The space between Earth and the flagship turned into a storm of burning light. Kira Holt shouted through the comms. All units, push forward. If we slow down, the sun will explode. Her voice filled every ship with fear and courage. Atron sliced through enemy wings, but even he felt the pressure. The Empire was throwing everything they had to stop humanity from reaching the device. Inside the command ship, the Quantum Emperor watched the battle with cold eyes. Humanity, stubborn to the end, he said. He tightened his grip on the star destabilizer's control sphere. But time is on my side. The sun flashed again, brighter and unstable. If it reached critical point, the entire solar system would turn to fire. Atron broke through the last line of fighters and landed on the Emperor's flagship with a heavy crash. Human soldiers followed, storming the landing bay. Kira arrived moments later, armed and ready. Atron looked at her. This is it. The core chamber is ahead. Kira nodded. We end it together. They charged. Empire guards tried to block them, but Atron moved like lightning. His blade carved through the air, sparks flying. Human soldiers covered him, taking positions, pushing forward room by room. Finally, they reached the central chamber. The star destabilizer sphere floated in the middle, glowing like a small sun. Rings spun around it, pulsing with deadly energy, and in front of it stood the Quantum Emperor. He smiled slightly. You are too late. Atron stepped forward. You wanted to erase them, but they fight harder than any empire I have known. The Emperor raised a hand. Humanity is a threat to the future. They must be removed now before they spread. Kira shouted back. You call us dangerous? You're about to destroy an entire star. The Emperor replied calmly. This is mercy. Quick, clean, necessary. Atron's voice grew sharp. No, this is fear. The Emperor tightened his grip on the energy staff. Then let fear decide your fate. He attacked. The final battle shook the chamber. Atron blocked the Emperor's strikes, sparks exploding across the room. Each hit sent shockwaves through the floor. Human soldiers fired at the floating rings, trying to slow the machine. But the Emperor was powerful, stronger than any warrior Atron had fought. You cannot stop destiny, the Emperor roared. Atron pushed back with everything he had. Destiny is not decided by you. He struck the Emperor's staff, shattering it. The Emperor stumbled backward. Kira pointed at the destabilizer rings. Atron! The control core! Atron turned and saw it, a glowing crystal at the center of the device. He sprinted toward it. The Emperor, desperate, dove to stop him. But Kira fired a single shot. The blast hit the Emperor's armor and sent him crashing into the wall. Atron reached the core and plunged his blade deep into it. A blinding flash filled the chamber. The rings froze. The light dimmed. The machine stopped. Outside, the unstable sun returned to normal brightness. Earth was safe. The Emperor fell to his knees, defeated. You doomed the galaxy, he whispered. Atron shook his head. No. I saved a future worth fighting for. Kira stood beside him. And humanity will never forget this. The Emperor's ship began to explode from within. Atron grabbed Kira's arm. Everyone! Evacuate now! They ran back to their ships. Humans fled the burning flagship moments before it erupted into a huge blast, lighting the sky. The war ended that second. The Empire fleet, confused and leaderless, retreated. Atron watched the battlefield grow quiet and peaceful. Kira approached him. You warned them. You tried. But in the end, you fought for us. Atron looked at Earth. Blue, bright, alive. Humanity earned my respect, he said softly. And my loyalty. Kira smiled. And now, we rebuild. As the sun rose gently over Earth, the galaxy shifted into a new age. An age where humans stood stronger than ever. An age earned with courage, sacrifice, and unity. An age that even an alien warlord chose to protect. Humanity survived. And the stars would never forget it.